916, positivity, motivation. Never settle for average. You know how we do it over here. Ain't nothing average about this channel, so go pick up some merch at nsfa.co. And I've been catching a little heat from viewers who say that I come down hard on the black community. You know, I'm always pointing out the negatives. One of the viewers said that I over romanticize some of these other cultures, you know, because I spoke on the Russian culture, Armenian, some of the Jewish communities, Asian, and I know everybody has their issues, but I spoke from a perspective of how they have a tendency to help each other and the unity among the people, which allows them to all kind of come up. You know, how you might have two families living in the same household and they'll work together to build up enough savings to start a business. And when you go into their shopping environments, it's all family working there. They don't really hire outsiders unless it's to clean up. When it comes to management, it's all that particular family running the business, and they lace each other up on the game. You go into a gas station, you'll see it'll be the same people running the gas station, and they'll basically have their little nephew in there, their son, and it's family businesses, man, and that's what builds family wealth, generational wealth. But you know, somebody said I over romanticize that, like I'm making it up and I'm being harsh. And my thing is, a lot of you guys don't want to have accountability. You want to be able to do stuff and nobody call you out on it. And I was the same way. I don't like to get called out. You know, I don't like to get called out when I was out doing dirt, when I got caught doing something I knew I wasn't supposed to, because I didn't want anybody basically making me have to look at my behavior and accept responsibility. See, once you accept responsibility and you know that you're doing something wrong, you're not going to continue to do it. And if I don't call you out on your shit, who's going to call you out on it? If I was on here talking about the N-word, and busting down all these females and this and that, everybody would be like, oh yeah, man, blah, blah, blah. And they would be just engaging the conversation, fueling it, you know, putting fire on it, you know, keeping it going. And I've been there, done that, man. That's not what I'm here to do. Most of you guys have never been in the thick of anything. And so to be called out on something, you saying, oh man, you don't have no love for, man, if I didn't have love, dude, if I didn't have love, I wouldn't be in here talking about this. You know how many cats that I've been through that I used to share stuff with, and then they turn around and stab me in the back after I didn't try to give them some game on something, or say, hey man, I'm gonna, you know, get involved in this or that, and they would be knocking it because they've never heard of anybody themselves from that environment doing it, so they would say that it couldn't be done, or, you know, it was something that's too far-fetched, or, you know, you're trying to be like those other people. You know how many times I've been called out on that for trying to give people real game? You know how many times I've started businesses and I've asked other people to get involved and they're like, nah, I'm cool. And then they ask me months later, how'd that work out? And they're actually like giggling and laughing, hoping that the business failed. Don't tell me about, you know, calling people out or, you know, being harsh, man. I love trying to help other people, man. Sometimes my wife says, you gotta stop because you're draining yourself, and I be helping people, but nobody tries to help me. Ain't nobody trying to put me up on nothing. And I'm not on here to whine and ask for sympathy. I'm just saying, a lot of you young people, man, you don't like to cut on your shit. You want to be running the streets. You want to be doing dumb shit. You want to be able to act up and, you know, then say that, oh, it's because of this situation or that. That's why I'm acting like that. And you know better. And that's not an excuse. You use excuses for everything, man. Where's accountability at? When are you going to own up to what you've been doing? When I was selling drugs when I was younger, 15 years old, I knew it was wrong. I knew the type of people I was hanging out with, the type of things I was doing was not right. And I remember one time I was riding my little motor scooter. It was a moped, they called them. And I was making a move. And my grandpa see me in traffic and I act like I didn't see him. But I was the only person in the neighborhood who had that type of moped, and I had the homie on the back, and we were going to go, grab some work. And he seen me, and I said, man, that's my grandpa. He said, where? I said, don't look. He's over there across the way. And we were going one direction, he was going another. I played it off, man. I played it off, and I knew I was out of pocket. So a lot of times you guys are doing shit, you're out of pocket. When you're running up in stores, you're lying because you didn't do your homework, you're sneaking out the house, you're doing wrong, man. Your parents might be telling you something, you're doing wrong, but you don't want to be called out on it. And a lot of you guys have way more potential, but you want to justify the lack of application so that you can say, hey, man, that's just how it is, and we got it rough. But you can really be applying yourself more. You don't want to work hard. I didn't want to work hard to some degree and do the things I should have been doing. I was a great student, but if I worked harder, I could have been an excellent student. And my grandpa told me one time, man, you run around with these knuckleheads, in the streets, I'm telling you, you better watch yourself. And he didn't really say it how I say it to you guys, but he said it the best he could for how he knew how to say it. But when he said it, I kind of looked at him and I brushed it off, man. I'm like, the old people, man, can't tell me nothing. I'm out here in the streets. I'm out here getting it, man. I'm out here representing. I'm doing this, doing that. I got a pocket full of money. I'm out here balling, doing my thing for what thought I was doing for my age, 15, 16. And I was a knucklehead like a lot of you guys, man. But being called on your shit is the worst, because then when he came to visit me in YA a few years later, he just looked at me, man. He looked around. He said, people that come to these places, man, they always come back. Once you get caught up in this system, it's hard to get out. I said, man, I used to tell you, man. And I sat there, I couldn't even look at him in the face, man. I couldn't even look at him in the face during that conversation because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed, man. I was in there with a bunch of other major gang members, hood dudes, guys who, some of them would go on to become probably career criminals. And I was in there. And that wasn't the last time I was in a place like that. And so when people say, oh man, you don't go and speak to these guys and do that, man, I speak to you guys all over. This is an open platform. YouTube is all over the world. And I spoke at schools that will accept me. Don't think that I haven't applied to some of these schools that have a budget that say that they want somebody. They don't really want somebody to come and speak to these kids, because the kids are the pipeline to the prison systems. You guys are the pipeline. They need to keep you guys ignorant, dumbed down. They don't want nobody to check you about gun violence, about drug use, about misogyny. They don't want nobody to check you about that, because that feeds the pipeline. The pipeline needs a bunch of young, non-educated, wild young men from the community, Black, Hispanic, to go and commit crimes so that they can fill them bunks up. That's all I seen up in juvenile hall. I seen a handful of white cats and a bunch of brothers and Mexicans. Don't tell me, man, about I don't care about my people, man. I used to holler at a lot of dudes, and they used to just hate. I would be talking with guys, and I'd come back. He said, hey, Hurricane, you were talking to so-and-so, man. He said this and this about you. He said, you always think you this and that. I'm like, damn, man. Just because I want to have shit? Just because I want to have stuff. And I tell people, and I call them out on their shit that, we shouldn't be acting like this. We could do better. We should, step our game up. That's hating. That's what you guys call hating. When I say, hey, it's embarrassing, the gun violence, acting ignorant, doing stupid shit, that's hating on the culture. You got it backwards, man. That's uplifting the culture. That's trying to call you on your shit to say, hey, man, do something right. I'm always telling you guys, get your game up, man. Start you a business. Partner up with family members, man. Put your money in the pot. Do this, do that. I'm always telling you guys, but yet all you can seem to find is the negative hatred, because you don't like to hear anybody not talking that bullshit. I'm not a rapper on here talking about selling crack, about shooting people. I'm not on here talking about robberies and all. I'm not out here bragging about a bunch of shit to make you guys romanticize crime like it's some hell of a rite of passage. I'm in here telling you that the stuff I did, I wish I would have never done it. But I wouldn't be here today to speak on the real if I hadn't done it. I'd be a fantasy dude, like a lot of these dudes, fantasy guys. Yeah, they got real dudes around them, but what they're promoting is not anything that's going to benefit you long term. I tell you all the time, man, them pushing these kids through school, thinking that, hey, man, I'm just going to push you to next grade. You can't read, you can't do basic math, you don't know how to do any type of trade or anything to go further. School, like I said, is the pipeline. I wish I would have had more life lessons, man. I wish somebody would have put me up on, starting a auto body shop or mechanic shop or a welding shop or a plumbing business or, getting involved in architecture or engineering, coding. I wish somebody would have put me up on that 20, 30 years ago, but nobody did. I was a wild little knucklehead. I used to roll around with a strap all the time. It wasn't until I set my ass down that feds, man, I was wilding out. Up until my early 20s, man, you couldn't tell me shit. You want a funk, I was ready for it. But it wasn't like I'm in here bragging about it. A lot of these channels, they want to brag like, oh, man, that was cool, huh? It's not cool, man. It's not cool you having to worry about the police getting behind me because I got a strap under the seat, or worried about, you got drugs in the car, or you don't know if somebody told on you for some shit you did last week or a year ago, or looking over your shoulder because you did this to so-and-so's homeboy, or you robbed this dude for that, or you're selling this, or somebody might try to rob you. Ain't nothing cool about that, man. You guys got the game backwards, man. A lot of you young men, you want somebody to always say you're a victim. You're not a victim, bro. Stand up and take responsibility, man. And that's what I call you on your shit. Just like my grandpa called me on mine. But I didn't listen. He used to talk mad shit about me, man. It wasn't until he was almost on his deathbed that he's like, oh, may you change your life. I embarrassed him, man. I embarrassed my family. You guys run around, you act like it's, I'm just doing what I do. It's, oh, man. And then when you get caught up, you're like, oh, man, it's messed up in here. Oh, man, the guard's tripping, blah, blah, blah. You're in their house. You're in their house now. The warden up in there, you're in the warden's house. They're going to be tripping. Politics with the homies, politics with the races, politics with the guards, and politics with the courts. You don't know the Black's Law Dictionary. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you ahead of time so you don't get caught up in it. But you get mad at me because you're saying I'm hard. I'm always talking about the black race and I act like other races are better. I can't change my skin tone, bro. God made me this skin tone for me to put a message out for you guys to try to see past the color, but yet that's all you want to bring up. I'm a humanitarian, man. I had homies in prison that was Belizean, that was Korean, that was white, that was mixed, that was Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican. I messed with everybody, man. I was one of the few people that socialized like that. And I did that before I went to jail. I had a lot of dudes from different cultures, Filipino homies, Samoan homies, Hawaiian homies. I never tripped off a race. It wasn't until I got to prison where that shit became amplified. And I try to use all that game, all my years of knowledge, being on this earth. I can't believe it. It's almost 50 years on this earth. And I try to put it in the game that you guys can relate to so that you can be smarter. You can take advantage of your youth and not be caught up in this bullshit and feeling like, oh, man, they got it in for us. Nobody got it in for you but you, man. You got to realize, yeah, the system is biased. Of course. Some of you guys I know are in places that are horrible and you got to worry about a lot of just stereotypes. I do too. But what I try to do is overthink them. Like, okay, I know this guy's scared of me. I can see his body language, so I try to talk and soften it up. I try to use, walk a certain way so people don't get intimidated. I know I gotta do certain things because of who I am and how I project myself. But at the end of the day, it's the game, man. It's the chess pieces on the board. It's not like I can't change the game, but I know if I know how to move in the game, I can move efficiently, proficiently, and effectively. And that's what I try to help you guys do. And I always try to lace you guys up, especially young brothers, man, to get your shit right, man, to be on top of your game. You guys have so much power and influence. Everybody wants to emulate you. People want to be like you. All the young brothers, you see them, they're selling shoes, they sell cars, they use this to sell jewelry, they use this to sell advertisement, they use this to sell everything, man. They put somebody in an outfit and it sells. They know the power, man. So when I tell you, man, to like, hey, hold some accountability, don't get mad at me, man. I'm giving it to you how your dad should have gave it to you. But you, because you mostly been raised by women, get all emotional. Oh, Big Herc don't want to come talk to our school. Oh man, he tripping. He don't always talk bad about black people. No, if your dad would have told you, man, you got a couple more ass whoopings growing up, and he would have told you how hard he worked, so you didn't have to work like that, and he would have probably checked you. You'd have been more of a man. You wouldn't be so soft in your feelings, man. A lot of you guys are soft feelings type dudes. Your feelings is mushy, like some mashed potatoes, man. Somebody say something to you, you get all mad and want to go shoot them. That's because a lot of you guys never had a father figure. You've been raised by women. I know, I've seen it. I didn't have no major father figure either, but I had enough to where I know I don't want to, if I got beat up, I don't want to go kill somebody. I didn't want to go, oh man, this guy beat my ass, caught a fade, I'm going to bring a gun to school. For what? I got to ass whooping, I got to accept that L, I come back and, redeem myself. Just like life, man. Somebody got to tell you something, man, and you got to have to own up to it, but that's part of life. A lot of you guys, soft asses, emotional creatures. Quit being so emotional. The women is supposed to be emotional. She's the one who cries in the movies and does all this stuff, man. You got to learn to be strong, man. And strong means accepting responsibility and sometimes constructive criticism. I'm just talking from the heart, man. That's all I do. I'm not on here balling, YouTube, doing all this stuff, pretending that I'm this dude walking around, man, I'll do this and that. Nah, man, I'm a regular person, man. I'm just trying to share something because I like seeing brothers win. Every time I go somewhere, I see somebody, oh man, I try to compliment. I love seeing people win. Always did it before I went to the pen, did it after the pen, during the pen, and in life, I love seeing people win, man. So call it what you want, man. Say I'm romanticizing other cultures. Say that, you don't care. And man, it's like, you just don't want to be called on your shit. And I've been there. I know I didn't want to be called on my shit. It wasn't until I was in them kennels and my mom had to come see me. My grandpa had to come see me. My grandma had to come see me. And I had to look him in the face and look real stupid. Look real stupid, man. The last time I did my bid, I didn't see nobody. What did nobody look stupid at? Nobody looks stupid, bro. I'm trying to tell you, you'll be up in there, nobody looks stupid at you. Visiting Saturday, Sundays, holidays, nobody come to see you. You think about life different. You sit up in there for like almost 9 years with no visits from anybody from the street. And the cool thing about it, I didn't know anybody in prison from the street. See, a lot of you guys got homies. Oh, the homie up in there. Oh, what's up? You get all, dudes get excited. Oh, that's the homie so-and-so, blah, 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 blah. I knew your cousin, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have anybody in prison I knew from my block. You guys got the game twisted, man. Big Herc always talking down on black people. Big Herc always hating on the culture. Hating on the culture because I'm not telling you guys to go out here and endorse being ignorant, doing dumb shit. I'm calling you on it because you're doing stuff out of pocket, just like I knew I was out of pocket. Come on, man. Miss me with the bullshit, man. Big Herc 916.
Never settle for average has always been my motto in life. So I've been fortunate enough to get together with the brand NSFA and become a brand ambassador because there's no room for mediocrity in life. So whether you're out here and you're an athlete, you're in entertainment, you're a business person, represent and pick you up a hat. And for those of you who are law enforcement, military, veterans, first responders, use code USA15 and get 15% off. Click the link in the description and never settle for average.
Hello, I'm Big Herc 916. Contact me for life coaching and motivational speaking.